Forza Motorsport, the long-awaited successor to Forza Motorsport 7, released in 2023 for the Xbox Series X/S and PC. Unlike the street and rally racing focused Forza Horizon series, the Motorsport series is meant to be a simcade racing game developed by Turn 10 Studios under the supervision of Microsoft. After playing Gran Turismo 7 for about a year, I picked up an Xbox and decided to see how this game compares. I've got some categories laid out here, and I'm going to use my personal opinion to see which game does it better. This video will only be going over the single player aspects. We'll get into the multiplayer side later next week. Starting off with the first thing we see when we open the game, the menus and the UI. The first thing you're greeted with is the 2023 Cadillac Racing V Series R, a glorious machine that makes heavenly sounds such as this, and participates in the FIA's World Endurance Championship and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. We'll talk more about the amazing cars in this game in a bit. We get a simple menu down the left hand side, and that's about it. If I had to describe the menus in this game using one word, it would be minimalistic. No fancy hub screens or different locations like Gran Turismo's menu, just some buttons that show you what you want to be shown. Moving on to the in-game UI, we have another very minimal setup. On the top left, you have your lap time and current position. The top right holds your current lap and pit stop requirements depending on the race, and your car's experience bar. On the bottom left is the minimap, and the bottom right holds all your car's information. A fuel gauge, which gives you an estimate of how many laps you have left, the vehicle's health diagram, which shows how worn the tires are, as well as any body or suspension damage the car may have, an icon showing what cars you're currently on, and a tachometer with your current gear and speed in the middle. You are also unable to make any adjustments to the car's setup mid-race. While in Gran Turismo, you can adjust the brake bias, traction control levels, view the weather radar, and more to make sure the car is optimized for every single corner if you know what you're doing. So for this category, I'm going to have to give it to Gran Turismo. Next up are the cars. Forza has around 681 cars, while Gran Turismo has around 542. But which game has the better options? Well, if we scroll through the shop here and... wait, could it be? The G35 Coupe is a drivable car after I was blueballed by Need for Speed making it an NPC only car. Yes! Yes! Okay. In all seriousness though, I really do love to see these three Infinities get love in a racing game, and the rest of the lineup doesn't disappoint either. You have essentially everything Gran Turismo offers, but with some key differences that stand out to me personally. I'm a big fan of the GT3 and hypercars driven in the WEC and IMSA series in real life, so getting to see cars like the 2023 hybrid twin-turbo V8 hypercar and M4 GT3 from BMW, or the 2024 Mustang GT3 from Ford is amazing. While Gran Turismo has cars like the Porsche RSR, the BMW M6 and M8 Group 3 cars, and the new Group 3 Mustang based off the S550 chassis, I do love being able to drive these newer race cars on Forza. Except for one major issue. Most of these race cars have to be purchased with real money. Why? I understand that being on Game Pass may make it harder for the game to make money, but this is a little ridiculous. I would also love to have some of the newer Formula cars available, but I'm assuming that's impossible because of EA's F1 series. All in all, the car selection of this game is fantastic, and so this category is going to go to Forza. Moving on to what we can actually do with the cars, the customization. Both games have similar setups. You can upgrade your engines, suspension, tires, wheels, drivetrain, aerodynamics, and more. The difference lies in how these upgrades are obtained. In Gran Turismo, you buy these with your credits, so as long as you can afford the part, it's yours. In Forza, on the other hand, every car has a level. This level increases naturally as you drive the car, win races, set fastest laps or segments, complete overtakes, etc. As the car's level increases, you are given more points to allocate towards different parts. These points can be spent and unspent as you choose, so if you pick an upgrade and decide you don't like it, simply remove it and the points you had allocated to it are refunded to you for use elsewhere. I have mixed feelings about this system. On one hand, it is nice to just buy a car and immediately be able to max it out as long as you have the money. However, it's cool to be able to drive the car in stages, with it getting better and better in every race. Seeing the lap times come down, top speed come up, and handling get sharper is pretty great. I'm gonna have to put this section in the middle. I like the leveling system as it really lets you experience the car and make changes on the fly without being punished by losing money. However, I can see it potentially becoming pretty grindy, but so is grinding for credits on Gran Turismo, which is why this one's gonna be a draw for me. Handling. This is a big one. Before I start this section, I want to make it clear that I play Gran Turismo on a wheel while I play Forza on a controller. I feel this is how each game was meant to be played, but that's just my opinion, and Forza could feel different on a wheel and vice versa for GT. The cars on Forza seem to feel pretty heavy, with a tendency to understeer. While playing Gran Turismo it feels like I'm guiding the car down the track, I found Forza to feel like I'm dragging the car down the track. The controller sensitivity feels very twitchy and makes it easy to make the car overreact to a situation, and there's no option to reduce it. The cars just feel like they have so much weight to them, and you have to fight the control stick to get it pointed the right way. It is also difficult to modulate the brake and throttle for things like trail braking, but that could also be from my lack of controller racing experience other than F124. Overall, the handling in Gran Turismo is much tighter, feels smoother, and is easier to control, even though I play that game with less assist settings. This one's going to go to GT. Moving on to the tracks. Forza boasts a total of 29 tracks, 6 of which being fictional, while GT has 37, with a whopping 19 being fictional. Side note, during my research for this section, I learned that my beloved Deep Forest Raceway is indeed not a real track. Both games have a lot of the big hitters: the Nürburgring, Spa, Laguna Seca, Suzuka, Watkins Glen, etc. Forza actually has all my favorite tracks from GT except for Deep Forest Raceway, which I now know is fictional, Red Bull Ring, and Interlagos. It makes up for that, however, by including incredibly famous real-life tracks such as Le Mans, Silverstone, Road America, VIR, Sebring, and Lime Rock Park. It also doesn't include Willow Springs, which is a massive plus for me. The only fictional tracks that have stood out to me so far are Hakone and Maple Valley, the latter being my favorite. Gran Turismo may have more tracks total, but Forza has more real-life tracks and includes such legendary circuits that I'm astonished GT doesn't have. Forza takes the tracks category. Moving on to career mode, or single player in general. Forza has the Builders and Champions Cups, as well as some temporary featured races. Each cup has multiple championships with their own themes. For instance, the Power Tour is all American muscle, while the Enthusiast Tour is filled with foreign classics such as JDM and German legends. The focus of the Builders Cup is to build a stock car from the ground up. Each race has 2 stages, practice and racing. You start out in practice, where you can run some laps, earn car XP, and try and reach the lap goal preset for you depending on your chosen difficulty. Once you've completed the required laps, you can end practice and move on. You are also able to skip practice if you want, but you'll lose out on any experience you would have gained otherwise. Before you start the race, you're given the option to choose where you'll start on the grid. Depending on the lap time you set in the practice, the game gives you what place it thinks you'll end up in from that starting position. The farther down you start, the more money is up for grabs, which I think is a pretty nice touch. From there, it's good old-fashioned racing. Between each race, you're able to use that XP you earned to beef up your car before the next race, and the cycle continues. The Champions Cup, on the other hand, is about running pre-built race cars in categories such as GT3, LMP2, and Formula cars. The setup is the same, but upgrading the car isn't important like it is in the Builders Cup, and the races are much longer to give that true racing experience feel. This one's my personal favorite. On Gran Turismo's side, there is no career mode. Well, you have the menu books, but they're nowhere near as engaging or interesting as Forza's career mode in my opinion. It feels more like you're going through a checklist than playing a game, just so you're able to unlock all the tracks and earn some credits. However, the License Center section does help GT out a bit by providing a place to focus on improving specific aspects of driving, which I feel to be a lot more helpful than the menu books were. Some find Forza's career mode to be repetitive and boring, but I've been enjoying my time with it much more than GT's menu books, which felt more like a chore. The career mode spot goes to Forza for me. Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo 7 are my 2 most played games right now, aside from F1. They both have so much to offer and play so differently that they excel in different areas. If I'm in the mood for some serious racing with a wheel setup, I'll play Gran Turismo, whereas if I want to kick back on the couch with a controller, relax, and just run some races, Forza's gonna be my go-to. I've heard a lot of people talking about how bad Forza is and how it's nowhere near as good as games like Assetto Corsa, iRacing, GT, and more. Most of the reasoning I've seen for this is due to the fact that its physics aren't realistic enough, the game isn't very good on wheel and controller is usually the preferred input, and a lack of content, especially at launch. In my opinion, not every racing game needs to be focused on realism and heavy wheel support. Not everyone has a sim setup and wants to put hours and hours into a simulator to even be competitive at all. Forza is the perfect game for those who want the on-track experience without those things, and is a very accessible game to start playing. I've enjoyed every part of the game I've played so far, and I haven't even touched the multiplayer yet, as I'm saving that for another video, which you should watch out for. If we're going simply off the sections I awarded to each game, Forza surprisingly actually takes the cake. However, I don't feel it's fair to compare these games at all because they're so clearly geared toward different audiences. They both offer a fun racing experience in their own unique ways, and I'm glad both of these and other racing games exist. If there was only one king of them all, improvements would never be made. Just look at the COD franchise. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me to the end, for those of you that did. It means the world to me, and if you could drop a like, subscription, and a comment giving me your own thoughts and opinions, I'd love to read and respond to them. I'll have a new video out next week, so turn that bell on to be notified when it comes out. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.